Hello, students of Paris College of Information Technology. So, I am your teacher. I'm Mrs. Ruby S. Canlas. So, your subject to me is the 21st century literature of the Philippines and the world. Okay, so this is our second lesson for the first quarter. So, the mapping our literary present. So, from the words present, so these are the famous authors, writers, and their different works or awards during the Philippines Literature 2000 and up. So let's start. So who are those famous writers and their work from the year 2000 and up? Okay, so I hope you will listen in this video and understand. Okay, so we are all know that literature depicts the history. No, it's not only the history, the culture, the tradition of our country, and it is hard to imagine a nation without literature. Am I right? Okay, so writing in which expressions and form is connected with ideas to a permanent and in universal interest, characteristic or essential features as poetry, novels, history of geography or biography, and different essays. Okay, so first is the different literature. So what are these? We have poems, essay, modernization poems, articles, plays, drama, comedy books, horror stories, or children history, fiction, and non-fiction. So these are the different genres of literature. And who are those notable writers and their literary contribution during the 2000 to 2013? Okay, so first is we have Abdon M. Balde Jr. Okay, so he is a chairman of the Union ng mga manunulat ng Pilipinas, Writers Union of the Philippines in English. So a founding board members of the Filipinas Copyright Licensing Society and board members of the Wika ng Kultura ng Hagham, a member of the Kabulig Bicol Writers Organization and Albay Writers Group, and a consultant of the National Bookstore. Okay, so first, Abdon M. Balde Jr. So in 2010, he awarded as Ani ng Dangal Award by Her Excellency Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, our recent or former president in the Philippines. And in 2009, he also won Southeast Asian Writers Award by the Crown Prince of Thailand. Imagine that, the Crown Prince of Thailand. And in 2009, Bicol Regional Artist Award for Literary Arts by Honor Hes Robredo or Jesse Robredo. Okay. In Lifetime Achievement Award in Literature by the Arejola Foundation. Then 3 of his books won the National Book Award, and he also won the Palangka Memorial Award for Literature in 2003. He was a civil engineer by profession and a self-trained painter. So imagine, a civil engineer by profession. So we are all known, diba? Even though we have different courses, no, at the end, maybe we have other passion, no, that we are going to see or to develop, no, as a person. Okay, so next, our next author is a girl. Yes, Beverly Say or Bebang. Okay, published writer of all sorts of genres, from serious poetry to horror stories of adolescents to humorous essays to erotic novel. So she did the writings, layouting, and publishing of the spoof of her school's campus paper. Okay, then she took up BA or Bachelor of Arts Creative Writing Filipino in the University of the Philippines or UP while she worked as a waitress at night. Okay. She graduated cum laude in 2002. She immediately signed up for Masteral in Filipino, major in literature. She is very optimistic that she will finish the course soon. So being optimistic, it is a good way of thinking. or being positive thinkers talaga ne. So, she is the youngest member of UMPIL or Union ng mga Manunulat sa Pilipinas Board of Director in 2004 to 2010. Then, President of Linangan sa Imahen, Retorika at Anyo or the LIRA in 2007 to 2009. LIRA is the premier and the oldest organization of the Filipino poets who write primarily in the national language. Okay, so then she is the executive officer of membership and documentation of Philippines Copyright Licensing Society, or in short, the PhilCos. PhilCos, okay? So, an organization of authors and publishers that helps fight for the economic rights of copyright holders. So, that's what our second authors in this literature present. Okay, so Beverly C. or Bebang. Okay, next is Alan Popa. So, Alan Popa is author of 7 collections of poetry. Imagine, 7 collections of poetry. The most recent being Basta or Ateneo de Manila University Press in 2009. And he also received the Philippines Pre-Press Literary Award and the Manila Critics Critical National Book Awards. He earned his MFA in Poetry of Washington University in St. Louis, where he won the Norma Lowery Prize and Academy of American Poets Prize. So he is in international, okay? So he teaches at the Ateneo de Manila University and De La Salle University, Manila. So he also a teacher. No, that is Alan Popa. Okay, our next author and writers. Charleson Ong. Okay, so Charleson Ong, he is known in Japanese occupation period also, no, if I'm not mistaken. So he write 3 collections of short fiction. Okay, then Men of the East and Other Stories, Women of Amkau and Other Stories, Conversion and Other Fictions, as well as 3 novels, An Embarrassment of Riches, Banyaga, A Song of War, and Blue Angel, and White Shadow. So that's the works of Charleson Ong. Okay, then next is Katrina Pantoja Hidalgo. Okay, so Katrina Pantoja Hidalgo, a renowned teacher, just like me. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so renowned teacher, editor, writer, and pioneer of creative nonfiction, garnering honors since her collegial days. Wow, imagine that, no? She has a lot of honors during her college days. And Dr. Hidalgo has also received such prestigious awards as Gawad Balagtas Graphic Free Press, Falls Manila Critics Circle, British Council, Grant to Cambridge, and the UP President Awards of Outstanding Publication. Okay, and she has been recognized as outstanding Thomasian, no, writer. Thomasian means the University of Santo Tomas, no, that's what they call Thomasian writer. Hall of Farmer for the International Publication Award and Grand Prize winner for the Novel of the Palanca Awards. She was Vice President of the Public Affairs of the UP or the University of the Philippines and President of the Director of the University of Santo Tomas. So that's why she called Thomasian. Then Publishing House and an associate of the UP Institute of Creative Writing. Okay, so next is Danton Remoto. Okay, so has written 9 books and edited 8 other titles, including the landmark Landlad series of gay literature. So he taught English and literature in Ateneo de Manila University. So before taking early retirement, so he has been retired to work as a communications analyst at the United Nations Development Program, and he is known the head of research and desk manager of TV5 or Channel 5, where he also co-hosts a weekly TV show and a daily radio show. So just like when I first saw, he's kind of familiar because he is a TV host of the Daily Show. And he studied at Ateneo de Manila University or University of the Philippines and University of Stirling in UK or United Kingdom. Okay, and Rogers University in USA or United States of America. Okay, next is Gemma Nemenso, our next writers or authors. He is known as one of those who conceptualized and created Batibot. Okay, so it is for kids TV show, the Batibot, if you recall, the acclaimed children's educational TV show. Okay, and abstract editor of the US-based electronic database publisher and managing editor and columnist of the Filipinas, the only monthly glossy magazine for the Phil-Am community in the US. So that's Ma'am Gemma Nemenso. And next is Dean Francis Alfar. So Mr. Dean Francis Alfar, a Filipino playwright. When we say playwright, he can both play and write. Okay, so write different literature or play different musical instrument. And he is also novelist and writer and speculative fiction. His work has published both in his native Philippines and abroad, such as Strange Horizons, Rapid Transit, The Year's Best Fantasy and Horror, the Apex Books of Words, SF, and the Exotic Gothic series. So most of his work, if you observe, is more on fiction, okay, or more on stories, no? His literary awards include 10 Don Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. Imagine 10 Palanca Awards. Okay, so that's most outstanding. Okay, and including the Grand Prize for Novel for Salamanca, as well as the Manila Critics Circle National Book Awards for the graphic novel Siglo, Freedom and Siglo Fashion, and the Philippine Free Press Literary Award. And of course, Mr. Dean Francis Alfar, he is an advocate of the literature of the fantastic publishing, the annual Philippine speculative fiction series, as well as comic book creator, and he is also a blogger. Okay, so big clap to Mr. Dean Francis Alfar. And then our next author or writer in the present time is Mr. Edward P. Jones. Okay, so he is known for the book Lost in the City and the Known World, and National Book Critics and Circles Awardees, International Impact Dublin and Lannan Literary Awards for the Known World, received a MacArthur Fellowship in 2004. His first collection of stories, Lost in the City, okay, the first book, Lost in the City, won the PEN Hemingway Award and was shortlisted for the National Book Award. Then most recent book in All Our Hunthuggers Children, The Known World. So that's the well-known works of Mr. Edward P. Jones. Okay, next is Edgar Calabia Samar, author of 2 books of poetry, which is the first book is The Pag-aabang sa Kundiman, Isang Talambuhay in 2006, and isa na namang Pagtingala sa Buwan in 2005. So halos magkasunod lang sila. Now, his 2009 novel Walong Diwata ng Pagkahulog, or in English, The 8 Muses of the Fall. Okay, then longlisted for the Man Asian Literary Prize and won the NCAA Writers Prize for the novel. So his books have also received awards from the Palangka PBBY Salanga Writers Prize and Gawad Sirian sa Tula ng Gantimpalang Colantes. His second novel sa kasunod ng 909, which won the 2011 Cal Gawad Antonio M. Abad for Best Desertion in UP Diliman. And of course, Summer teaches Philippine Literature and Creative Writings at Ateneo de Manila University and is is now the director of the Ateneo Institute of Literary Arts and Practices, or AILAP in short. Okay, so our next author and writer is Mr. Eros Atalia. So some of the works of Mr. Eros Atalia that I observe is more on fiction. Okay, so more on fiction sila, or stories, or not real, no, about science fiction, just like that. Okay, so unang ganti para sa Don Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature 2006, Gawad Soc Rodrigo, Fellow of UPICW Writers Workshop for Mid-Career Writers noong 2007. Then, here are the some works of Mr. Eros Atalia, the taguan pong Kalipunan ng Makdang Di Pambata at Manual ng Mga Napapagal, or Coffee Table Deadball Book. Then, Pexman, Mamatay Ka Man, Nagsisinungaling Ako, no, in BPE 2007, and Ligo na Yu, Lapit na Mi, BPE 2009. And Wag Lang Di Makaraos, 100 Flash Fiction, BPE. So, it's not that complicated. Bakit hindi pa sasakupin ng mga alien ng daigdig sa 2012? No? Lecturer panelist. So, he is also a lecturer panelist, resource person, and speaker at the local and national comprehensive seminar of workshop sa wika, linguistika, panitikan, malikhaing pagsusulat, periodismo, at pamamaraan ng pagtuturo. And he is also the one of the kasapi ng organisasyon ng professional ng manunulat ng periodista. So, that was Mr. Eros Atalia. Okay, students. Next is Isagani R. Cruz, a former Philippine Undersecretary of Education, and he is also PhD, University Maryland. He's the president of Manila Times College and a governor of the National Book Development Board. So he is a consultant to the president of De La Salle University and Far Eastern University. Then, Mr. Isagani R. Carlos also belongs to the Hall of Fame of the Don Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards in Literature and is one of the 2010 Outstanding Filipinos, or in short, the TOEFL. And he writes in Philippine Star newspaper. Okay, so that was Mr. Isagani R. Carlos. Okay, next is J. Neil C. Garcia. So, he is the author of numerous poetry collection and works in literary or literary cultural criticism, including Our Lady of the Carnival, The Source of Water, Kaluluwa, Philippine Gay Literature, The Last 30 Years, essays in Philippine Gay Criticism, Performing Self-Occasional Prose, The Garden of Wordlessness, and Mysterious, and other poems. Okay, so, and J. Neil C. Carlos, if you don't know, he is currently working a full-length book, a post-colonial survey and analysis of Philippine poetry in English. Okay, then he recently edited the anthology Aura, no, the gay theme in Philippine and fiction in English. That was Mr. J. Neil C. Garcia. And our next is Jose Dalisay Jr., PhD. Okay, has published more than 25 books. So, ganun karami na yung na-publish ni Mr. Jose Dalisay Jr. of fiction and non-fiction. So, it is both fiction, means not real, or it is read for entertainment, and also non-fiction, it is real stories or about that gives information. So that was the books of Mr. Jose Dalisay Jr. That winning award for his writing both in the Philippines and overseas, so in Philippines and other countries. So he has been a Fulbright, Hawthorne Den, British Council, David T.K. Wong, Rockefeller, and Civitella Rainieri Fellow. He has lectured on Philippines culture and politics in the U.S., the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Italy, Singapore, Malaysia, China, and among other places. So imagine how many places is that. So his second novel, Soledad Sister, was shortlisted for the inaugural Man Asian Literary Prize in 2007. So a big round of applause, no, to Mr. Jose Dalisay Jr. So it is one of our known writer, not only in our country but also in different country. Okay, then next is Santiago B. Villafana. Okay, so he is a Pangasinan poet, is the author of poet of collections of Balikas sa Kabuloan or Voices from Kabuloan, published by the National Commission of the Culture and Arts or the NCCA, and under its Ubod New Author Series in 2005 and Malaguilion Sonnets Tan Villanelles. No, Malaguilion was recognized by the National Book Development Board of Manila Critics Circle as finalist for Best Books of Poetry in the 27 National Book Award. No, Villafanias is one of the 11 outstanding Pangasinense. So, ibig sabihin, isa siya sa out of 11, no? Outstanding Pangasinense recipient of the first ASNA Award for Arts and Culture Literature. So, during the first ever AGU na Pangasinan and 430th Foundation Day of the Pangasinan in 2010. So, his recent work is entitled Pinabli and other poems released in 2012. So, our own Pangasinense poetry. Okay, Santiago B. Villafana. And next is Rosario Cruz Lucero. Rosario Cruz Lucero. So, he is a girl. Okay? Is an author of short stories, personal essays, scholarly articles, no? Her stories and essays have won the Carlos Blanca Memorial Awards, the Philippine Pre-Press Literature Award, the Nick Joaquin Literary Award, and the CCP Gantimpalang Ani. She recently won the NCCA Writers' Prize for a third collection of short stories entitled Islands of the Disappeared. She has been Fulbright visiting professor, twice a Ford Foundation Country Scholar for Southeast Asian Literature, and British Council Center Scholar of Oxford University, and the Writers in Residence in Lavigny, Switzerland. Okay, so that was Mrs. Rosario Cruz Lucero.
Thank you. See you in our next video.